Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the step-by-step process on how to set up and install a Roku video doorbell. Now, no matter which Roku doorbell that you end up getting, it's going to be a similar process. So for this example, I'm using the battery or wired Roku doorbell. But if you have a different model than this, like I said, it should be a similar process. So what we're going to do is take out the instruction manual and we're going to start on step 1. And what that says is download the Roku Smart Home app, scan the QR code below to download the Roku Smart Home app on your smartphone, sign in with your Roku account or create one. So over on my smartphone, either I can scan the QR code or I can just go to the App Store. So I'm on an Android device, so I'm going to go to the Google Play Store. If you're on an Apple device, you can open up the App Store. And then in the search bar, I'm going to look for the Roku Smart Home app. And after searching for Roku Smart Home, it's the first thing that shows up. So I can click on where it says install. And then at this point, I can either open up the Roku Smart app right here, or I can go back to my home page. And if the Roku Smart Home app doesn't show up on one of your home pages, what you can do is drag up from the bottom area. This is going to bring us our apps in alphabetical order. So if we find the Roku Smart Home app right here, we can hold our thumb down on it and then drag and drop it where we want it to be located. I'm going to drop it right here. Now at this point, I can launch the Roku Smart Home app by clicking on it. And it says tap continue to accept the mobile app terms and conditions and privacy policy. So if you're good with those, you can click continue. If you're new to the Roku ecosystem, you need to create a Roku account. I already have a Roku account myself, so I'm going to sign in with my email and password that I have set up for Roku, and then click sign in. And it says Roku Smart Home lets you create location-specific triggers on supported devices. So if you'd like to allow this, then you can click allow. Otherwise, you can say no thanks. This brings us to the homepage of the Roku Smart Home app, and we can add our doorbell by either clicking the plus sign here in the upper left-hand corner, or we can click this plus sign where it says add new device. So clicking on that. And I'm going to be adding a camera doorbell, so I'm going to select that. And then at this point, you need to select the Roku doorbell that you have. So there's a Roku doorbell that's wired only. And even though the one that I have is called wire-free doorbell, I'm still going to be hooking it up to my wires because it has that option. So I'm going to click on wire-free doorbell. It says press and hold the power button for 5 seconds. The LED will light up, and you should hear the video doorbell say power on. So back over at our doorbell, turning it to the back side, and we can see the power button is right up here. So holding that down for about 5 seconds.
Power on.
So after you hear the power on, we should be good to go. So the LED turned on and it said power on. So I'm going to click next. And now we're going to prepare the doorbell. So the recommended placement is the doorbell is within 30 feet of the Chime, and the Chime is within 30 feet of your internet Wi-Fi router. So this is the outlet I'm going to be using to plug in my Chime, and it's in the same room as my internet Wi-Fi router. It's within that 30 feet. So I'm going to plug it in. So to go through that reset process, there's a button here on the side that I can hold down for a handful of seconds.
Reset successfully. Bluetooth is connected. Ready to connect.
And just be patient for a handful of seconds. It'll make sure that it's ready to go. It'll say Bluetooth connected and that it is ready to connect. So the status light flashed and it said ready to connect, so we're ready to move on to the next step. And we're going to allow Bluetooth access, so letting Roku use your Bluetooth to pair the device, so click OK. And I'm allowing Roku to access location to complete the device setup and ensure the location-based features perform well, so after allowing that, click OK. And it's going to be searching for the doorbell. Now at this point, you need to select your network, and it's worth noting that the wired-only Roku doorbell is only compatible with 2.4G, where the one that's battery or wired is 5G or 2.4G compatible. So I'm going to click on my Wi-Fi router, then enter in your Wi-Fi router password and click Next. And it says keep your phone near your devices. It's going to connect up with the Roku Cloud. And as long as you keep your devices relatively close, after a handful of seconds, they should connect up with each other. And I'm going to take you through these steps as I hook up my doorbell to the outside of my house. I'm going to be using existing AC wire to power my Roku doorbell, so I have that selected. And with this particular Roku doorbell, since it does have the battery, you don't need to hook it up with these existing wires. So that's something to keep in mind as well, but I'm going to click on Next. And this is going to walk us through a tutorial on how to bypass the Chime box for an existing doorbell that you might have in your house. So it's asking us to shut off the power of our current doorbell at the circuit breaker. And once you do that, you can move on to the next step. It says open the Chime box of an existing doorbell. Typically, houses with one doorbell will have 2 wires, and then 2 doorbells will have 3 wires, etc. You will need to use your screwdriver to disconnect the wires. So I have one doorbell existing with 2 wires, so I can click on that. And it's showing me that I need to use the jump wire to connect both terminals in the existing Chime box to bypass the Chime box. And it says you're finished wiring. Close the existing Chime box that was in your house. It's time to install your new doorbell. So we're going to move on to the next step. Now at this point when we're installing the doorbell, we have some options. If you want, you can use the wedge. So it's optional if you want to use that. I'm not going to be putting mine on an angle with a wedge. So now at this point, I need to remove my existing doorbell. So it says gently remove the old doorbell and disconnect the wires. So taking off my old doorbell, and I can see I have the old mounting bracket here and I have the 2 wires. So what I need to do is remove this mounting bracket, put on the Roku mounting bracket, and then I'm going to hook up these wires to the back of my Roku doorbell. So a couple of final things before installing the Roku doorbell. I need to unscrew this screw at the bottom so that I can actually get this thing to attach to the plate. Otherwise, this screw will block the ability for me to do that. So I need to remove that. And then also, of course, taking off the plastic wrapping so that the camera can see clearly through this area. So attaching those 2 wires to the back of the Roku doorbell. And I should be able to hook it on right to this mount. And I unscrewed that screw at the bottom so that I can place it on the mount. And once it's solid on the mount, what you can do is screw this back in so that it locks it into place on the mount. Now this is optional, but if you'd like, when you're attaching the wires to the back of your doorbell, you can add the extension wires that come with the Roku installation kit. And this is what that would look like with those extenders attached to your doorbell and then hooking up the 2 wires with the nut that is provided. It's just a little bit of a different way of going about doing it, whereas I just directly hooked up the existing wires. And if you had your power switch turned off this whole time, this would be a time to turn it back on. And at this point, you've now installed your doorbell, so we can click Finish. And you can name your doorbell device. So for me, it's at my front door, so I'm going to click on that and then Finish Naming. And now at this point, you can try out a 14-day free trial for the Roku Smart Home subscription. And it's not too expensive. The nice thing about this is that every move is recorded. Motion or sound is recorded instantly and stored in the cloud for 14 days straight. So essentially, it's recording everything outside of your home that's happening in the camera area of the doorbell for 14 days straight. So if you ever need to go back and look at any video or find something, you'll have 2 weeks to be able to go back and look at that. And at this point, if there's any software that needs to be updated, click on Update and it'll go through that process. After the update is finished, it'll bring us back to the homepage of our Roku Smart Home application. At this point, if you want to look at a live feed of your Roku doorbell, you can just click on your doorbell right here. And what's nice here, other than just giving you a live feed of your doorbell, it also gives you the percentage battery that is left in your doorbell if you're only going off of battery power. But also if you're plugged in to the wiring or not, you'll see a little plug right here. Additionally, we can see events that it has captured by clicking on Events. So different motion detection events can be found in this area, and you can filter it by the day that it had occurred. And lastly, you can also find your account information by clicking that option here in the bottom right-hand corner. And if you ever want to change the subscription options for your Roku video doorbell, you can do so in the subscription area. So I hope this video is helpful walking you through the step-by-step process on how to set up and install a Roku video doorbell. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel, and I'll see you back here next time.